Welcome back, friends and family. Hey, the recipe for today is called cheeseburger soup. And I think that there's half of you that'll go, yum, and then the other half will go, what? I'm hoping to convince you with this recipe, but first, a little health disclaimer. This isn't exactly healthy. It sure is delicious, and it's hearty, and it's gonna fill your family's tummies. It comes to us from my older sister, who happens to have 8 children from diapers to diploma. So let me tell you, this woman knows how to feed a family, and this is something that their family loves. So we're gonna dive right in. The whole thing gets made in this big pot right here. I've got some olive oil already in there. We are going to put a mix of chopped onion, carrots, and celery. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to speed up this recipe for you, just like I did yesterday. That way you can see more of it being made rather than not, okay? So just pretend with me like the onion is sauteed down and it's nice and translucent, and the other veggies have withered down as well. And then we're gonna add 2 pounds of lean ground beef, whatever kind you have on hand. I happen to love ground sirloin, but if that's not what you have, that's okay. Use whatever works for you and your family, okay? So we'll get that in there. Once you have browned that ground beef, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna pour in about 6 cups, and we're gonna have the full recipe. I know you can see all of the ingredients right there, but hey, guess what? We have them on our website for you too. So once you get that browned, okay, again, we're pretending a little bit through the magic of TV. We've sped things up. You're gonna pour in 6 cups of broth. It could be chicken broth, it could be beef broth. While that meat is sauteing with those veggies, what I like to do is put in 2 teaspoons of parsley and 2 teaspoons of basil. So both of those are dried. Sometimes I do a little bit of extra if I want a little bit more added flavor. There you go. And then about a teaspoon of salt. And Alexis, have you ever heard of cheeseburger soup?
No, I've never heard of cheeseburger soup. And you know what? It smells like cheeseburgers in here, which is the funny part.
I was a little skeptical. It smells like cheeseburgers. I was like, well, I guess that's a win. You know?
Yes, yes, but it smells so good.
Take a look at this. Okay, I'm glad it smells good. That's like my first indicator that I've got something good going on. All right, so what you're gonna do is boil. One more thing we forgot to add. I've got like 8 cups of diced potatoes. Those go into that pot. That's a lot happening in there. It's very hearty. All right, let me turn that heat off because it's doing a good job. Okay, so now that the potatoes are fork tender, everything's had a chance to marry, it simmers for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we are going to add in a thickener. Now, I like to keep this gluten-free, which is funny to say that after everything that's going in it. But in order to do that, I add a couple of tablespoons of cornstarch into a cold liquid like a cup of milk, okay? So there we've got our couple tablespoons right there. You wanna whisk it in a cold liquid because that activates its thickening power. Okay. So just think of cornstarch as having a little superpower, and it's gonna make your soups thicker. So you pour it in there and you let that bubble, and it's gonna get thick and rich.
Is there such thing as having too much cornstarch when you make something like this?
Yo, Alexis, that's such a good question. I've done it. So if you do too much cornstarch, you guys, it's gonna turn into a gummy bear. And a cheeseburger soup gummy bear is not anything as good as a really just rich, creamy cheeseburger soup. So you just want it thick. That's a great question. Because some of us think a little's good, more's better, you know, even more is great.
Like, you can't ask the ancestors about this one. You just need to do what she told you to do.
Exactly right. Now, unfortunately, you need Velveeta for this recipe, as well as some cheddar cheese. I'm telling you, they've got a big family. They have 10. A lot of times they're having people over, so they double it. This makes a big bunch, and the good news is you could freeze it. So I just dumped a bunch of cheese in there.
I love cheese.
Oh, I do too. Oh my goodness, is it your love language? It's one of mine.
Absolutely.
And then some sour cream.
Oh, wow.
Why sour cream now? I don't know. I don't know anybody that necessarily puts sour cream on a cheeseburger, but it just goes with all of these delicious flavors, okay? So you're gonna let that simmer. The wonderful thing is, if you wanted to transfer this to a crock pot and just kind of like let it hang out all evening so you don't have to babysit it on the stove, you could do that as well.
I love that. It's nice, it's hearty, it's thick. It literally, you could see like the different how it moved different, you know, as
Yes.
you went.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it smells great. And you always want your house to smell great if you're going to be in the kitchen.
Oh my goodness, you
So that's
do.
great.
Now here's how I like to top it. You know that I love to top my soups with croutons. So here's what you're gonna do, you guys. You're gonna grab your favorite buns, bread ones. I think about my favorite buns and they're 4 months old when I say that. Okay, but you want your favorite hamburger buns. And what I do is I diced those up. I toss them with a little olive oil or butter and a little more of that parsley. Put it on, heated it at 400 for just a couple minutes till they get toasted. And that way you like include the hamburger bun too. It's kind of creative and fun.
I love that.
So there you
That's
go.
the most gourmet hamburger soup that I could have ever imagined.
It's good stuff.
And it's easy.
I'll let you try it here in a bit. I don't want you to get it on your
She
pretty
feeds
dress.
me all the time. This is great. Annessa, thank you so much. And I believe that Randall is going to want some of that too.
Oh, I think you would.